Hi, I have a blank Illustrator file in front of me that I've named with your name example. And I have one layer, so everything's going to go into this layer, including my guides for now, okay? I probably should put the guides on a different layer and just call them guides. I think I'll do that. So I'm going to make a new layer by clicking that button on the bottom, which is the new layer button, and just name a layer called guides, and I'm going to leave it selected while I make my guides. So using the transform palette, I'm going to get the direct select tool. Okay, make sure under view guides there is no check mark by lock guides. Make sure it's just, because that'll mean that they're unlocked. Cool. So I start with 0.5. So I hit Command or Control R to give my ruler. See, Command or Control R, and I pull a guide out, and that guide is going to go on the Y ruler to 0.5, and then every inch from there. So I pull it out, and this one goes at 1.5. Hit the return key. This one here is going to go at 2.5. So let's go there and keep on going. And then 3.5. See, it's not even taking me that long. Hit the return key and 4.5 and 5.5. So my artboard was 6 by 6. So I created a 6 by 6 artboard. Now let's do the same thing, but pull it out of the Y ruler and use X to place this one at 0.5. And then I'm going to make sure I lock the guides layer. Whoops, I almost pulled it out of the wrong ruler. I never make a mistake. So 1.5 and keep on going, Brian. Okay, 2.5. I just want you to see how long, without me pausing this video, I want you to see how long this actually can take. 3.5. 4.5 and 5.5. Now, that's just going to let me organize my file. Now I'm going to save it. Okay, save it after every good thing you do, and then keep your transform palette handy and lock that layer. Okay, so your guide layer is locked. I'm going to click to the reference layer, and I've opened your file that you first gave me, this one, this PNG. I've opened it in Photoshop. Okay, I don't need the swatches palette right now. So I noticed when I zoomed in that these were very pixelated. You see how badly pixelated that is when I zoom in? And by the way, Photoshop zooming is the same thing. Alt or Option, middle mouse button, and you can zoom. Spacebar for the hand, okay? But I'm going to make this better before I do what I'm about to do. So I'm going to go to Image and Image Size. I'm going to make sure that resample is checked, okay? Because I want to change the resolution from 72 to 300. I'm checking the size though. I don't want it to be too big, so I'm going to go to about 6 inches on this, but 300 ppi. Now it'll make it much more clear. Now look, if I zoom out and I go close to the same one, look how clean that is. Okay, now let's start the process. And then I'm just going to do this about 10 or 12 times and we should be good to go. I'm not going to make any paths in here, and I'm just going to get this out of the way because I need my whole screen. Okay, so notice there's only one layer. So I get the marquee tool, the one on the upper right here. Now I'm going to draw a marquee box. Do you see it right there? It's a marquee box, and I'm going to go to Select, Transform Selection, because I want to and I have to hold the Shift key because I only want to make this touch the right edge right here. I only want to make it touch the bottom, and there's a reason why I'm doing that, because I want it to, whoops, sorry, I want it to be nicely centered. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and put this at the top of the stem, and then I'm going to move it over and hold the Shift key and put it right here at the left-hand side of the pumpkin. Hit the return key, and now I have exactly the marquee to the edge of the pixels, right? So I hit Command C. That's it. Just hit Command or Control C. Now go into your Illustrator file, make sure that you're selected on the reference template, and hit Command or Control V. Now, all we have to do is hit the E key. Hit the E key. Do not grab it by the center blue dot. Grab it anywhere inside, even in the white area if you're in the E key, but don't grab it there. So I'm putting this up here, and I'm going to hold the Shift key to make it smaller and fit in. So if I grab other things, I want to try something. So you see the scale tool? I'm going to double click it. Let me scale this to 75%, because then I know if I get anything else off the page, 75% will be the right thing, or 80 or whatever. But let me try the size of 75% uniform. And I see that I'm going to Control Z or Command Z back because it wasn't enough, because I only want to put in one number. So let me go to 65% and hit it. Now I think that's good. So now all I'm going to do is use the transform palette to center it in this upper box. Now look, 1 on the X ruler and 1 on the Y ruler. So I go 1, tabbing to 1, hit the return key, and now that's perfect. That's my first one. Now let's go do a few more. And remember, it was 65% that I shrunk it. So if I get any more off that page, I'll probably use 65%. So I save the file. I don't want to dim it yet. We can dim it later. Oh, look over here. Look over here. Look what it did. It pasted into its own layer. I don't like that. It shouldn't have done that. This is what I want you to do every single time. Okay? I'm glad I showed you this. Open up that layer. Wow, we have to open it up a couple more times to actually get to the actual file. Did you see how many times I had to open that to get to the actual pumpkin file? I'm going to take this and move it down into this layer. Now I want to throw away layer 1. Now I'll do that a bunch of times, but I can't stop that from happening. Before you start pasting stuff into Illustrator, would you take away the check mark? Take it away for Paste Remembers Layers. Would you do that for me? Because that may save both of us from having to do that process over and over again. So we don't want it to remember where it came from Photoshop. So look, now the check mark's gone. Now let's try the next one. Whoops. Let's try the next one. I'm saving the file again. So I go to my Photoshop icon. Let's now move to the next one. Now look what I can do here. I mean, it's not a big deal, but if I am in the marquee tool in Photoshop, do you see how I'm going to get the leaf, okay, and then I'll get the football. Do you see how I can hold the marquee tool right here and just move the marquee to the next one? It doesn't fit exactly, but it saves me some work. Now look at how I'm touching the right side. Let me get close. Look at how I'm touching the right side. I could move that over a little bit, maybe 1 pixel. And the top, I only have to fix the bottom stem. So I go to Select, Transform Selection. Oh, I have to hold the Shift key in Photoshop. If you don't hold the Shift key, the whole box will get bigger. If you do hold the Shift key, it'll let you do one edge. Now there. Hit the return key, say it's pretty, Command C or Control C, go to Illustrator, click away from this one. I have to click away from this one, so I get the direct select tool and I click away. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to lock it. I'm just going to click away. Okay, now, because I don't want anything selected when I paste. So Control V. Let's double click the scale tool. Look at how it's already on 65%. Just click OK. And now that one's good. So now we don't even have to move it manually. All we have to do is put in what? 2. See how the center is at 2 and 1? So let's go 2, tabbing to 1, return key, and there it is. Now, I'm going to make sure I go to the direct select tool and click away and save my file. Let's go to the next one. So now I'll take the football or something. I don't know. So I'll go to Photoshop. Let me now go grab, oh, I think that's so cute. Let me go, these are really good. So I'm going to grab this little diner thing. So how do I grab it? Let me get rid of the channels. So how do I grab it? I'm in the marquee tool. I just hold it to the edge. I wait for that to show up and I move it over to here. And look at how nice. Oh my God, that fits perfectly. Isn't that nice? So now, Command or Control C. See how easy this is? Let's go into Illustrator. Make sure nothing is selected, right? Nothing is selected. So I use the direct selection tool. I click away. Oh, look. Remember when I said paste remembers layers? Look, it went into that layer all by itself. So the trick was don't have a check mark by paste remembers layers. Whoops, I don't know why I keep on doing that. So Command or Control V. What do we go to? Yes, the scale tool. Leave it at 65. Click. Yours might not be 65. It depends on the image, but just I think you understand what I mean. Now, don't move it. Let this move it. So what does it now go to? 3 tabbing to 1 return key. Now let's click away. So I'm going, remember before you go clicking anywhere that I was in the scale tool. So I can't deselect if I'm in the scale tool. So every time you're done scaling it, immediately click the direct select tool, okay? Now I can select away and now I can save it. So let's go get a couple more from there and we'll just keep on going. So let me now go down here. Let's go grab the tractor. So in the marquee tool, I just move it down for the tractor. I'm going to place it at the front wheel at the top. Wow, it's almost right. It's almost pretty. Now all I have to do, let me get close, is go where? Select, transform selection, hold what key? Yes, it's the shift key. Move this up to the tiny tires. Hit the return key, hit Command C, click over to Illustrator, go over to here, Command or Control V. What do? Scale tool, hit the return key because it's already at 65. Now what do we do here? Well, 2 things. I'm going to click the direct selection tool now because I know I need to. And what does this go to? It goes to 4 tabbing to 1 return key. Now, let's go get one from the bottom of the page. Now, what do? I click away and I save. Okay, let's go back into Photoshop. Let's zoom out and I'll get one more from this. Okay, let's get the umbrella or whatever. That looks like a mouth that's wide open. That's kind of gross. Let's get the football. So I'm going to go grab the same marquee. See that? See that? I'm where the tractor is and I'm moving it over to the football and I'm almost correct on the football, but now I got to make it deeper. So how do I do that again? Select, transform selection, hold the shift key, move it down, return key, so it accepts the transformation, Command or Control C, click to Illustrator. Make sure everything else is deselected. Yes, it is, Mr. Sorial. And Command or Control V. What do? Scale tool, return key, and this goes to what? 5 tabbing to 1 return key. And there is your first set of icons. Now I'll use what tool? Look, I'm in the scale tool. Wouldn't it be awful if I click the board? Look what'll happen. See? If you're in the scale tool and you click, look what happens. Command or Control Z back. Thank goodness you can do that. Click the direct select and click away. Okay, so let's go now to this box, but let's use a different file. Okay, so let's start a different file. So I'm going to go to minimize this. Let's now close this file. I might have to save it because I made it bigger. Okay, now I'm closing it. Now I'm going to go into the folder you have and let's go get the, these are, I'm actually happy that I'm going to use these. Oh, those are even better. But I want to show you something that you need from this because it's such a small file. Okay, so if I double click it to open it in Photoshop or right hand click, Teresa, would you see how big the file is? It's really small. Okay, and if I zoom in, look at how bad it is. So I want to fix that immediately. So let's go to, let me make this bigger. Let's go to Image and Image Size. let us, it's 4 inches. I'm going to actually make it 6 inches, because remember the last one we made 6 inches, I think. And what is the PPI? 300. Now, instead of having them yucky schmucky, look at how nice that is. Now I'll save that file. Okay, I'm just going to save it. Okay, now let's go grab a couple of these pumpkins. So what tool do we use? We use the marquee tool. We make a marquee, just like that. You can see it, I hope, on the screen. Go to where to transform it. Select Transform Selection. Hold what key down? Yes, the Shift key. Let's touch all the edges right at the last possible pixel, kinda. And let's go down here to his little orange beard, it looks like. Hit the Return key, and what do? Command or Control C. Just leave it open. Let's go to Illustrator. Is anything selected? Answer no. Command V. Now 65% may work. Now do you know why it may work? Because I made the artwork the same size as the first one. I made it 6 by 6 at 300 ppi. So this one should work too, right there. Now I think that's pretty good. Now without moving it manually, look at your rulers. This goes 1 on the X ruler and 2 on the Y ruler. So let's go 1 tab to 2, boom, and there it is. What do we click away from? Remember, you're in the what tool? Yes, you're in the scale tool. So you got to go to the direct select and click away. Okay, save the file. Now let's go back to Photoshop. See how this gets to be quite the process. Okay, let's go find just a couple of these. We don't need a whole bunch of these. So let me grab this smiley face one. So let's go here and put the smiley face one. I'm going to move it over. I hit the F key to expand the pasteboard so I could use the space bar to move it around. I don't know if you knew that. If you hit F back to normal, the space bar doesn't hardly move anything around. But if you hit F once, look at how I can move it around. Now, that one's already in the right place. So I'm good. Command or Control C, click to Illustrator. Command V, double click the scale tool. It's already on 65%. Hit the Return key. Whoops. Yeah, and now it goes to 2, tabbing to 2. Now, let's save the file. Remember, click to the direct selection tool, click away, and save it again. Now let's go to another file. Okay, so let me minimize this, close. I'll save this and close this, and let's open up a different file. Those are weird, but I didn't mean that. They're kind of cute. Let's go get the trick or treat one. Okay, now this may be a little. It's going to sound very odd. Since the icons are so close here, I am going to double click it and open it up in Photoshop, hit the F button, and I'll go get the trick or treat thing. Okay, so this is what I'm going to show you right now. First, let's go to image size and make it the same size as we've been working on. Look, it's 18 by 18. What do we put it on? We put it on 6 by 6. At what? 300. And now it's going to be the same size when we bring it into the other file. Okay, so this is what I want to do. This one isn't exactly going to work out perfect. So I want to make a marquee box, but instead of having it be squared off, look what I'm going to do. Select, Transform Selection, turn the selection so it kind of just goes like that around the trick or treat box. Okay, now I'm going to hold the Shift key and put it at the end of those things. Hold the Shift key and put it right about there. Follow what I'm doing here? Let's turn it a little bit back. I kind of didn't get that very good. Right there is just about perfect. Okay, Return key. Now look, that one was custom. I had to use the transform capability of rotation. Command or Control C. Let's go to Illustrator. Let's click. Nothing else is selected, right? Command or Control V. Double click. We may need to make this a lot smaller than 65%. So let's go to 65%. And it's too big. So let's now I might just manually do this. So if I hit the E key in Illustrator, you have to hold the Shift key to keep it constrained. So I'm going to make it slightly smaller. See how it's retaining its original size? So now let me zoom in. Let me just manually put it. It's still too big. So I'm going to grab this corner and hold the Shift key and make it even smaller. Okay, that seems pretty good, doesn't it? That seems pretty good. So now let's go to 3 and 2. 3, tabbing to 2 right there. So that worked. Now I took that off of another file. Go to the direct selection tool, click away, hit Command S to save. We'll get one more from that file, and then you can see what I'm doing. So let's go to Photoshop. Let's get, I have no idea what. They're kind of weird. We'll get this pumpkin. We'll get this kind of weird old pumpkin here. And I want to show you something about, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and let's see if you're okay with what I'm about to do, okay? All right, cool. I don't want, when I make a marquee box around it, which I'm going to do in Photoshop, this one's going to have to be reduced a whole bunch. I don't want these little stars, so, or the little circle-y things. So I'm going to go to Transform Selection, hold the Shift key, because in Photoshop you have to hold the Shift key to only go with one edge, remember that. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Don't panic here. I'm going to make an instant layer out of this. So memorize this, Command or Control J. Now, did you see how I made a layer over here in the layer palette by going Command or Control J, as in Johnny? I'm going to turn this off. Now watch how I can take the lasso and just lasso around that big thing and hit the delete key. Make sure I'm selected on that layer, right? Because I want to delete off that layer. Hit the delete key. So let's go around it like this. Look at lasso like that. Take that away. I'll just take the rest of this little white away, although it doesn't matter. Now, that's going to be just fine. So let me deselect. Okay. Now, there's so many things I could show you here, but I'm going to get the marquee tool again, and I'm going to marquee my box again around the whole pumpkin. So that was a little bit of a custom job because there was so much stuff on that page. Now that I'm taking this right here, I'm going to hit Command or Control C. Now that I've surrounded it with a marquee, you have to do that. Okay, let's go to Illustrator, and I'm going to have to shrink this quite a bit. So let's go Command V. Let's hold the E key, grab the corner. E key is for transform in Illustrator. Hold the Shift key and shrink this guy quite a bit, and even quite a bit more. So let's go grab the corner, hold the Shift key, Brian, a little bit more. That actually is okay, a little tiny bit more. Okay, now let's go 4 and 2. So 4, tabbing to 2, return key. Okay, so that should help you. I'll do one more to finish off that row from another file. Okay, so let's go minimize this. Let's and remember, if you want to go back to your regular artwork, just turn on that layer and click to it. Click to it. But I can't see anything else on this page. You might, but I can't see anything else I would want except a lollipop. So I'm going to go Command W to close it, and I will save it. I'll save it like this because it's going to save as a PSD file, and I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. Now let's go to the other one. Let me see if this was the other one. No. These, right? I didn't get these. Okay, so let's go here. Did I get any of those? You'd think I would remember. Let me go to Illustrator and see if I got any of those. No, I didn't. So let's go to Photoshop. What is the first thing I'm going to do here? Very first thing I'm going to do is check my image size. So I go to Image and Image Size. Remember, we're dealing with 6 by 6, so let's go 6 by 6 about, and 300 ppi. Okay, that's perfect. Now, let's get the witchy poo up here. So let's go over here. I'm hitting the F key so I can move this all around. Use the marquee tool. We've done this so many times now. I'll just manually do the right side, so I don't have to do that. Let's go to Transform Selection. Hold what key? Yes, hold Shift, right to the edge of her broom and right to the bottom of her broom. Now, hit the Return key, Command C. I think 65% will still work in this. Okay, and let's go over here now. Nothing else is selected. Look at your nice layer palette over here. Command V or Control V. Let's go 65%. Forgot where the scale tool was. And let's go like this. Okay, that actually is pretty good. It might want to go smaller just a little bit, but let me put it in position. This one is 5 tabbing to 2 Return key. That's just a little bit too big. Okay, so I'm going to take the scale tool, and instead of 65, I want to explain something. It's now at 100% as far as Illustrator is concerned. So if I wanted to keep it the same size as it is, I'd go 100, but I only want to shrink it just a little bit. All right, it's way too small now. So let me go to about 90%. And let's hit Preview on and off. And there, that's not bad. A little bit more. Let's go to 85%. And Preview on and off. That's better. And click OK. And now I use the Direct Selection tool. I click away, hit Save on the file. Now let's pretend you did all of them. Okay? And you're ready to do your artwork. So you click the circle for the reference layer. See it right there? You click that circle. You go up to your, make sure your window control palette is on, because that's it right up here. And you put in about 30% or 35 or 40%, and you can see how you can dim them now. Now you have your template. And that's, I think, exactly what you're looking for. And if you have any confusion, watch this movie a couple of times if you have to, but it's the same process over and over and over again. And remember now, lock up that layer, create above the guides, create your art layer. So now you can start going on your art layer. And I don't think you want green. The third layer is always a greenish color. That never works for me personally, so I go to a blue selection color for it. But now leave these two locked. When you're done all your artwork, throw away that layer. Okay, but don't throw it away now because you need it, right? So if you want to say, well, 30% was too dim, unlock it. Notice how nothing else in the layer is locked. Click the circle and maybe put it up to 40%. And now you have it a little bit better. Lock that layer, click to your art layer, and you're good to go. That should help you. Okay, let me know.